Good evening, everyone. I'm Daniela Briones Petrolia, together with my group, Group 4, Miss Imperial, Miss Villarada, Miss Desera, Miss Lianzana, and of course, Miss Mandak. This presentation, we're going to tackle about the book formatting or book formats and book awards. Now, for that, next slide please. Now, of course, before anything else, let us know first our learning objectives. At the end of this learning period, students should be able to A. Develop an understanding about the definition of book formats and major book awards. B. Identify the different types of book format and major book awards. And last, C. Apply their understanding of this topic to the means of an activity. Now, unfortunately we cannot have an activity, but this will be applied with the means of recitation. Now, before, of course, to spice things up a little, and before we move on to our topic, um, we, we are going to play a game called Four Picks and One Word. Miss Manda.
So, yes, before we begin our discussion for today, we're going to have a game. And our game is named Guess the Word. We are providing a picture and a hint letter, and you will guess what is the word that you are that the picture is showing. So, next slide, please. Yeah. So, Mr. Pinto, can you answer this word?
Format.
Very good. That is correct. Next word, please. Miss De La Rosa, can you please answer this?
Award.
Let's see if your answer is correct. Correct. Good job. Next picture, please. Miss Ramos, can you please answer this?
Book.
Let's see if your answer is correct. Good job again. That is correct. Next picture, please. Miss Giuliega, can you please answer this?
Chapter. Chapter.
Nice job. That is correct again. So, next picture, please. Miss Vincentino, can you please answer this?
Picture.
Let's see if your answer is correct. Correct. Good job again. Do you have another picture? That is the end of our icebreaker. I hope that you enjoy our game. And let's move on to book formats. May I call on Miss Imperial?
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Rock. The picture books are published for children ages 4 to 8 years old, and it rely heavily on pictures and illustrations throughout the story. Since the kids are more on visuals, they will love and enjoy reading picture books because the illustrations are colorful, enchanting, and inspiring. It can help them to develop their reading skills and broaden their vocabulary. Picture books are designed to grab children's interest in reading and easy comprehension. Picture books, it is generally used to refer to books with illustrations and lesser text. The story or content is conveyed through a series of pictures with captions and short stories. Pictures or illustrations provide visual cues to help kids or reader discover more about the story. There are picture books that do not have text and they are called textless or wordless picture books. Picture books are typically about 50 to 1,000 words and it's centered around one main character. It has 32 to 64 pages but doesn't have page numbers. They are larger in shape than any storybook. Picture books include board books and picture storybook. Board books or pop-up books contain paper that pops to be easily manipulated by the readers. Picture storybooks are picture books with a storyline. Illustrations in the picture storybook are necessary to show the characters' emotion, their actions, changing a setting, and the emphasis of the themes. Next slide. Transitional books or easy to read books. Transitional books are designed for beginner readers to be successful independent readers, give clues to the messages and meanings of the words, that is artistic enough to make the book interesting for children, and majority of the transitional books are animal stories or animal fantasies. Transitional books have more text than picture books. They may contain a few illustrations throughout the text, but the reader must get the meaning from the story without the help of pictures on each page. Readers of transitional books rely heavily on sight of words to understand the story. Also, the transitional book is smaller compared to picture book or any regular book. The pictures are smaller than the text, and the text occupies a bigger portion of the page, and it must be well readable. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, the first picture, The Cat in the Hat, is an example of a transitional or easy to read book, and the next picture is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. Is an example of picture book. Okay, that's all. Next slide. For the next reporter, Miss Milia.
Thank you for that, Miss Imperial. Now let us discuss about chapter books. So chapter books are mostly prose works of fiction written for young readers, often ages 7 to 10. They can consist of a few illustrations. The short chapters that give chapter books their name make them easier for younger independent readers to consume. So when we say chapter books, it is the stories that are lengthy and complex enough to necessitate chapter breaks are called chapter books. So they are not overly lengthy for young readers. They are shorter than novels but longer than most picture books. So even though they are not as huge or abundant as those in early reading materials, the drawings are frequently included in chapter books. So around ages 7 to 10, and kids are typically ready to move on to chapter books. So the stories are short to read, and it may maintain a child interest for extended periods of time and offer lots of opportunities for a child to take a breather. So picking up a chapter book to start a child's transition to reading more prose-based children literature has several benefits. So now let us talk about its types and example. Next slide. So for the non-fiction books, we have here Beavers, The Superpower Field Guide by Rachel Polly Quinn Ill, Nicholas John Fried. Next, please. We also have here fiction books. Planet Omar by Zani Dian. Next. Of course, fantasy books. Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot, The Buddhist Vultures from Venus by Dove Pilkey, and of course, illustrated by Dan Santat. Next slide. And for the last is we have here realistic fiction books, Fog Blast Off, or Diary of a where the child may acquire new vocabularies and interested in the topic or genre. So children can genuinely explore their options or areas of interest and personal preferences in the hopes of discovering something new or something that they adore. Next slide, please. Now we are done in chapter books. Let's talk about verse novels. So, verse novels, a new phrase for a poetry based narrative book is the verse novel. The verse novel is a hybrid literary form in which a story that resembles a traditional book in both structure and style is delivered through poetry. So when we say verse novels, it is frequently make reading a chapter book of equal length simpler. So they have few words per page and a lot of white space. And also, despite the fact that verse books tend to use straightforward language, the poetry style can make them seem overwhelming at first. And also, verse novels can give children who prefer books a taste of poetry because they narrate stories and concentrate on the experiences of certain characters. Next slide, please. So here are some examples of verse novels written by Ellen Hopkins. We have here Crank, Tricks, Impulse, and Fallout. So through the use of poetry, the verse novel filters the plot devices used in fiction. So meaning long narrative poems, epics, chronicles, and romances are forerunners of the novelization of poetry. So however, the verse novel as a distinct 19th century genre differs from the long poem that tells the story in that it adopts the discourse and language and as well as the stylistic elements of the novel as versatile form. And that's all for my report. May I call on Ms. Sana? Thank you.
Okay. Illustrated books is one where the pictures enhance the book aesthetically but add nothing or little to the actual story. The images have a decorative function. It is a book that combines visual and verbal narratives in a book format, most often aimed at young children, with the narrative told primarily through text, and they are distinct from comics, which do so primarily through sequential images. Next slide, please. Okay. Thumbelina Tamara by Tamara Campbell. This is okay. Knight and Dragon Andy, cattling this depiction of a scene from a Thumbelina by children book illustrator Tamara also features a pond, though from a very different perspective. Her marvelous use of color from the pond's surface to its dark green gives the impression of deepening levels with a little less light filtering down to the bottom. On top of that, um, the authors does an excellent job with texture in this drawing, as you can tell from the facial skills, the slippery reeds and the filmy looking lily pads at the top. Next slide, please. On a Magical Do-Nothing Day by Beatrice Alemagna. The title of this children's book, Beatrice Alemagna's art is undeniably magical. Her softly alluring colors and shapes evoke a dreamy landscape you wish you could step into. Mary Poppins style in this illustration, Alemagna even manages to make a rainy day seem idyllic. Such is the power of her persuasion. Next slide, please. Knight and Dragon by Andy Catling. Andy Catling specializes in cute cartoon style children's book illustration like this one. However, despite the somewhat impossible scenario, you'll notice that he hasn't skimped on the plausible details, such as the dragon's perfectly proportioned shadow, the dirt and just behind the horse as it skids to a stop, and tiny blades of grass sticking up in the foreground. Though the bright colors and unusual shapes draw the viewer's attention, it's the little details that truly elevate this illusion. Next slide, please. Graphic novel. It is a format. This is not a genre. Graphic novels can be fiction or non-fiction. history, fantasy, or anything in between. Graphic novels are similar to comic books because they use sequential art to tell a story. Unlike comic books, graphic novels are generally standalone stories with complex plots. Collection of short stories that have been previously published as individual comic books are also considered graphic novels. Next slide please. Major types of graphic novels is manga, superhero story, personal story, personal narratives, and nonfiction. For the continuation, may I call Patrolya.
Now we are going to move on to the major book awards. Next slide, please. BookBrowse Award is an online magazine and that website platform that provides book reviews, author interviews, and book reviews and reading guides. It started since 2000 and up until today, It is still on site. It was create It was created an online magazine with twice monthly issues that includes reviews, excerpts, articles, book club picks, and author reviews. It has a wide section for book clubs that offers suggestions on how to create one and reviews of books recommended by running book clubs. The next slide, please. The second one would be the Pulitzer Awards. The Pulitzer Awards was established in 1917 and was named by Joseph Pulitzer. Joseph Pulitzer is a newspaper publisher. He gave his money in his will to Columbia University to launch a journalism school and establish the Pulitzer Prize. He allocated $250,000 to the prize and scholarships. And these awards has 21 categories. The 20 categories winners receives a certificate and a 15,000 US dollar cash award, and the winner in the public service, the remaining one of the 20, it is in the public service category. They are awarded a gold medal. And now, the award for achievements in newspaper, it has an award for achievements in newspaper, magazine, online journalism, literature, and musical competition within the United States. Next slide, please. Since 1984, the Pulitzer Prize winners have been presented with their awards by the President of Columbia University. And the audiences of these awards are the family members, business associates, board members, and of course the journalism faculty. So whenever you see a book that has this logo, so you can see a man looking outside or a man pulling something. This the book was awarded by a Pulitzer. The book is a Pulitzer Prize winner. Now, next slide, please. Or formerly known as a Booker Prize for Fiction from 1969 to 2000, to 2001. And the other is the Man Booker Prize from 2002 to 2019. And today, from 2000 to 2020 up until today, they are still we are now calling it Booker Prize. It is a literary award given annually or yearly to the best English language book published in the UK or Ireland. It means that it is an award given only to those authors um, that are in the UK, and the books that they published are in the UK or Ireland. So when the prize was created, this I there was a dispute that only novels were written by Commonwealth Irish and South African and later Zimbabwean citizens they were only eligible to receive the prize. It was a dispute then, but then as of 2014, the award is now open to the authors worldwide, so long as their work is in English and published in the UK. It means that for 2014, you are only eligible to this award if you are if these novels are written by Commonwealth, Irish, and the South African. But if you are outside of that countries and you're not a citizens of these countries, you are not eligible to receive these awards and prize. But then when but then on 2014, they opened this award to authors worldwide, including to authors worldwide, as long as your work in the English is in English so that they can understand it. And means that even you even you even you as a Filipino, if you are living in the UK, even if you are a Filipino citizen, if it, that is living in the UK, as long as you published your book there and it was written in English, you are eligible to this award. Now, seconds, I next slide please. The last one for me is the John Newbery Medal. It was also known as as Newbery. It was named after John Newbery. He was an 18th century English publisher of juvenile books. This award is awarded annually on January by the American Library Association for the most distinguished American children's book published that previous year. It means that you are eligible to attend this award if your book was published before this award will before this award will going to happen. And now, granted to the this is also a literary award granted to the author of most notable contributions to American literature for children and by the Association for Library Service to Children, or ALSC, and it is a branch of American Library Association. Next slide, please. Together with Caldecott Medal, these two are considered as most prestigious awards for children's literature in the United States. Ibig sabihin, other meaning they are the most famous, and if you are an author and you were awarded by this award, you are one of the author that is mostly famous and must be someone who are who is good in terms of writing these children's literature. And that if you want to join these book awards, your book must have been written by a citizen or a resident of the United States. Means that you have to be a you, you have to be a citizen of United States or an American. And this book that you wrote must be published in English. It must be published in English first or simultaneously in the United States during the year prior for you to be able to join this award. Now, the following would be discussed by Miss Lecera and Miss Mandak. Miss Lecera.
Thank you, Miss Patrolia. So, next is about Michael Prince Awards. So, here it is an American Library Association literary award that annually recognizes the best book written for teens based entirely on its literary merit. So, when you say literary merit, it means the artistic quality or value of any given work of art, music, film, literature, sculpture, or painting. So, Michael L. Pritz was a librarian at Topeka West High School in Topeka, Kansas, until he retired in 1994. So, uh, these Michael Prince Awards was founded in 2000 for 1999 young adult publication. So he was also an active member. So Michael Prince was also an active member of YALSA, serving on the Best Book Award for Young Adults Committee and the Margaret A. Edward Awards Committee. So he dedicated his life to ensuring that his students had access to good literature. To that end, he encouraged writers to focus on the young adult audience. So, ayan. So the award was created as a counterpoint to the Newbery in order to highlight the best and most literary works of excellence written for a young adult audience. So it is sponsored by Booklist magazine and administered by the ALS. Sorry again. It is sponsored by Booklist magazine and administered by the ALAS Young Adult Division. So the selection committee comprises 9 YALSA members appointed by the president-elect for 1 year term, and they award one winner and honor up to the 4 additional titles. So the term of young adult refers to readers from ages 12 through 19 for purpose of this award. Next, the Edgar Award. So the Edgar Award, officially known as the Edgar Allan Poe Awards, are presented every year by the mystery writers of American based in New York City. So this award named after American writer, of course, Edgar Allan Poe, and he is a poet. He is a editor and a literary critic. So the first award began in 1946 in the category of Best Mystery Novel American, and in subsequent years, the awards have been expanded to include numerous other categories, including film, TV, and children's literature. So, um, oh wait, sorry. So the awards honor the best in mystery fiction, nonfiction, television, film, and theater published or produced in the previous year. And next, the National Book Critics Circle Awards. Uh, this National Book Critics Circle Awards is a set of annual American literary awards by the National Book Critics Circle (NBCC) to promote the finest books and reviews published in English. So it the first awarded happened in 1976, and 6 awards are presented annually to books published in the United States during the preceding calendar year. So these six categories includes fiction, nonfiction, poetry, memoir, autobiography, biography, and criticism. So the winners of the awards are announced each year at the NBCC Awards ceremony in conjunction with the yearly membership meeting, which take place in March. So for the next reporter, may I call on Miss Mandak?
Thank you, Miss Lacera. Before I start my discussion for today, may I ask you guys to please um, press the raise hand button so that I will know that you're still listening. Thank you so much. So now let's move on to National Book Awards. The National Book Committee oversaw or supervised their management between 1976 and 1979. American Booksellers Association bestowed or honored them in 1980 under the new moniker American Book Award. The prize were renamed the National Book Awards 7 years later, and the National Book Foundation began giving them out from that point forward. And the process begins when the publisher submits selected books to compete in several categories. And National Book Awards categories is chiefly fiction, non-fiction, and poetry. And the winners of the National Book Awards are chosen by a panel of judges, and the winner will receive a $10,000 cash and a crystal sculpture. So before we move on to the next slide, can I ask you, if you're still listening, when will the National Book Committee oversaw their management? What year? Oh, okay. Ayan. Mr. Pinto, can you answer, please?
Um, the year of management, National Books Committee oversees their management is 1976 and 1970.
Thank you so much. That is correct. So now let's move on to the next slide. So the next is Costa Book Awards. The Costa Book Awards were a set of annual literary awards recognizing English language books by writers based in Britain and Ireland. So Costa Book Awards were a set of um, Costa Book Awards were awards that recognizing English language books only by the writers only based in Britain and Ireland. The awards were both for high literary merit but also for works that are enjoyable reading and whose aims to convey the enjoyment of reading to the widest possible audience. So Costa Book Awards focuses on literary works that is enjoyable when you're reading it, and when you're reading it you are enjoying reading that literary works. As such they were considered a more populist literary prize than the book prize, which also limits winners to literature written in the UK and Ireland. And the honor they honor the best books of the year written by authors who are based in the UK and Ireland only. So, trivia, additional knowledge lang pala. The awards were cancelled in the year 2022. Maybe because of the pandemic or some technical issues. So, next slide please. Women's Prize for Fiction. So, the Women's Prize for Fiction was previously sponsor the Women's Prize Fictions previously name was Orange Prize for Fiction, and Orange Broadband Prize for Fiction and Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction is one of the United Kingdom's most prestigious literary prizes. So they say that this Women's Prize for Fiction is one of the most prestigious literary prizes in the United Kingdom. The prize was established or the Women's Prize for Fiction was established in 1996 to recognize the literary achievements of female writers. And the winner of the prize receives £30,000 along with a bronze sculpture called the Bessie, created by the artist Crizel Niven. And additional knowledge again, the inspiration of this prize or the Women's Prize for Fiction was the Booker Prize of 1991 because in 1991 none of the six shortlist books was by a woman, and despite some 60% of the novels published that year being by female authors. I have a question again. When did the Women's Prize for Fiction was established? Can someone please answer? Okay, I will answer na lang. So, the woman's price for fiction was established in 1996. So, next slide please. Oh, thank you Miss Pinto. Mr. Pinto, sorry. That is correct. The last part of our discussion for today is about Penn Bellwether Prize. Uh, Penn Bellwether Prize is a career launching award. The Penn the Penn Bellwether Prize for Socially Engaged Fiction encourages literature that explores social justice, concern, and influence of culture and politics on interpersonal relationship. While the Costa while the Costa Book Awards is focused on the literary works that is enjoyable, Penn Bellwether is focused that explores social justice concerns and influence of culture and politics of interpersonal relationship. And also, Penn Bellwether Prize, it was created by Barbara Kingsolver in the year 2000. And it is given every 2 years to the author of a novel of exceptional literary merit that upholds the ideals upon which the prize was based. And the Penn Bellwether Prize has a three-panel judges that consists of two eminent authors and an editor choose the who chooses the best unpublished novel manuscript. And the winner of the Penn Bellwether $25,000 and a publishing contract with Algonquin Books are given to the of the winning novel. And three panel judges decided to I that yes, identity that's all for our distance of our report. Next slide, please. And you have learned a lot from our thank you.
Nag